What's up, guys? Mail Jones here, and we back here with another NFL record prediction. And this time, we'll be doing an NFL record prediction for the New England Patriots for a 2025 NFL season. Let's get started here. I'm gonna give you my game-by-game analysis and game-by-game thoughts to see which games I think the Patriots are gonna win and which games I think the Patriots will lose. So before I give you my record prediction for New England Patriots for a 2025 NFL season, don't forget to put a thumbs up to like video, subscribe to my channel for more options, and comment down your opinion below to see how far you think the Patriots will be. Do you think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs this year? Do you think they're going to win the AFC East? Or you think they're going to miss out on the playoffs once again? Just let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Okay, so starting things off, week one, they play the Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, this will be a fun game to watch. Now, this is a game right here that can totally go either way. But obviously, you got Gino and Drake May playing against each other. Both coaches are familiar in even matchup. Obviously, this will be a fun game, but I am going to go with the Patriots here to win this game. And the reason why I'm going to go with the Patriots is because the Patriots, they're at home. They're the more complete team. They have the better quarterback. What I think Drake May might be better than Gino because he might have better stats than him. The coaches are a little bit even. And I just think they're just a more complete team overall. Like, I just think the Patriots are just a much more physical team than the Raiders. The Raiders, I like Gino. I like Pete Carroll. I like some of the Raiders' weapons they have on offense. I like their O-line. I like their defense. But there are so many flaws there. I just don't think the Raiders are going to be explosive offensively to at least like move the ball against, the Patriots defense. Because remember, the Patriots really have a good cornerback group that's upgraded, which I think the Patriots secondary will find a way to at least like play sticky covers against an underwhelming receiving core of the Raiders. I think, they can but I just think, the Patriots, are just going to be more explosive in the passing game. Because I feel like the Raiders, secondary versus versus Stephon Diggs is a terrible matchup. And I feel like Diggs will be a problem. And the Patriots have upgraded the defense, their defensive line to like get after Geno. And they pretty much upgraded the secondary to do that against to play some good pass defense against the Raiders secondary. And Josh McDaniels will know the Raiders really well because he coached the Raiders. So, yeah. So, basically, I think the Patriots should easily win this game at home. Week 2 against Miami Dolphins. Obviously, I'm not going to keep saying this. I got the Dolphins winning this game because the Dolphins, the Patriots suck in Miami like they do. Because it could be hot. It could be a lot of heat going on. Like the Patriots suck in Miami. Like, I hate to say it, but they do. And the reason that they suck in Miami, here's the thing. The Dolphins are really good at home. They're good in the heat. And they're really good on defense, at home sometimes. But they could be average. Because I feel like the Dolphins will take a step back this year. But, it's division rival. And, the Dolphins, Tua has owned the Patriots throughout his career. I think Tua is going to ball out this game. And I feel like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle will totally be a problem for the Patriots defense. So, yeah. I think it's going to be an awesome game, but I think Miami's going to win because I think Miami is just like the much more, like, they're at home and they just have the home field advantage in this game. And I just think their pass rush could totally be the difference maker against the Patriots' new improved offensive line. So, yeah, I think the Dolphins win the first matchup because in Miami. Next game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, this is a game that can totally go either way. Now, most people could be picking the Steelers to win because they think the Steelers are a better team overall. But, at the same time, the Dolphins, the Steelers, they just signed Aaron Rodgers. And, that could totally be a Steeler win. But at the same time, you know, the Patriots have owned the Steelers for like the last couple of seasons. Like they have. Like they own the Steelers for the last couple of seasons. But here's the thing. The Steelers, have a really good pass rush. Their offensive line is a little bit underwhelming. Their secondary is much improved. Their receiving core is not great. But this should be interesting though. But I'm gonna I think it will be close. It could be a defensive game. Because I remember last time the two teams played, I believe the Patriots did beat them with Bailey Zappi, which I think they did. But you know what? With Drake May, I'm going to say the Patriots win. And the reason for it is that I just think the Patriots are probably going to be a much more better team than the Steelers. The coaches are even. And I just think their offense, is probably going to be much better than the Steelers. I feel like, their defensive line is probably going to give the Steelers offense and Aaron Rodgers some fits. And I feel like they're going to do a good job stopping their running game. And I just feel like, the Patriots do have the corners to at least like cover against the Steelers receiving core. Like they got I know Steelers got DK Metcalf, so I feel like the Patriots defense, with their secondary, they can just lock him down, cover him, make the Steelers throw the ball to other people. So yeah, that's a good matchup for the Patriots. So basically, I like the Patriots to win this game at home. Next game against Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna say that Patriots are gonna win this game because the Patriots are just a much more physical team. They're at home. They have the better quarterback. They have the better coaching staff as well. I mean, Carolina Panthers. I like them this year. Like I like their offensive line is much better. They got better weaponry. The defensively, they're not as good. But the Panthers, I just don't really think don't have much of a pass rush to at least like get after Drake May. I feel like Drake May is probably going to have some time, and the Panthers secondary. I don't think the Panthers defense is any good, especially they've been bad against the run and especially against the pass. So I feel like when the Panthers play when the Panthers play that soft man coverage and zone coverage, I feel like that's going to allow Drake May to at least like sit back and like pick them apart. So yeah, and Stephon Diggs is going to be a problem for the Panthers secondary. So yeah, and I feel like that the defensive line is probably going to get the Panthers offense some issues, and I feel like they'll stop their running game, and I feel like their secondary will find a way to at least like shut down, lock down maybe the Panthers receiving weapon. So yeah. I think the Patriots win this game easily at home. All right, next game, week 5 against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, this is on a primetime Sunday night game in Buffalo. I got the Bills winning this game. And the reason for that is, I think the Patriots are probably going to put up a fight. But I think the Bills are probably going to win because here's the thing. The Bills, offensively, the Bills are just a better team. They have the better quarterback. The coaches are even, and they're at home in this game. And the Bills Mafia is a difference maker in this game. I mean, yeah, and especially the Bills have owned the Patriots, especially since when Tom Brady retired. So, yeah, I think the Bills win that game. Next game against New Orleans Saints. This is a game that can go either way. Now, I know it's in New Orleans. Now, I know the game's in New Orleans and it's in a dome where it's kind of tough to play at. But I got to take the Patriots here to win this game because I don't know who the Saints quarterback's going to be. Is it going to be Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler? They're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Their offensive line is not great. The defense is old, but it could totally decline. So I think the Patriots offensively can move the ball on them. And, Stephon Diggs will probably be a problem, for the Saints secondary that has no cornerbacks. And, yeah. And, I feel like the defensive line is probably going to give the Saints offense a lot of issues. So, yeah, especially, the Saints do have great weapons, but I feel like the Patriots secondary can find a way to at least lock them down and all that, lock down the Saints receiver. So, yeah, I think the Patriots win because they're the better team, better quarterback, better coaching staff. So yeah, I think the Patriots are just. I think the Patriots should win. Next game, Week 7 against the Titans. Obviously, this is the Mike Vrabel revenge game, so I'm giving the Patriots the win here because I feel like the Patriots, they're just like the much more complete team and have the better coaching staff and better quarterback overall. So, yeah, especially I think the Patriots have the better defense because they have a great secondary that can really play man coverage against the Patriots receivers. They'll lock them against the Titans receiver. They'll just lock them down. They have a pass rush to get after the quarterback. And I think that this could totally be a problem for the Titans defense as well. I mean, I wouldn't trust a rookie quarterback, especially against that good of a defense like the Patriots that's much improved. And Josh McDaniel has owned the Titans throughout his career. So, yeah, I think the Patriots will win this game. Next game against the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, I got the Patriots winning this game. And the reason why that I got the Patriots winning here is because here's the thing. The Patriots, they're just a much more better physical team. They're just a more complete team. They have the better quarterback. They're at home. The coaches are pretty much even. And I don't know who the quarterback for the Browns is. Is it going to be Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco? Is it going to be Kenny Pickett? Like, who knows? If it's a rookie, I wouldn't trust him on the road, especially against that good of a defense like the Patriots. But the Browns do have a really good, talented defense that can really give your offense tons of problems. But they're probably gonna be worn out on how bad their offense is going to be because I don't think their offense is gonna be any good. So I think the Patriots defense is gonna give them a lot of problems. And the Browns don't have a great receiving core. And the Patriots with their cornerback group, I feel like with Jerry Jeudy, they can just lock them down. David Njoku. And I don't think the Browns are going to have a running game as well. So I think the Patriots defense, they should be able to stop the run and load the box. So, yeah. And I feel like, the Browns defense does suck on the road. So I think Drake May can totally have a big game, and he's probably going to dice the Browns up. So, yeah, I think the Patriots win this game easily at home. Next game against the Atlanta Falcons. This is an interesting game. This game can go either way. Now, most people could be picking the Falcons to win because I think the Falcons are probably going to be a sneaky good team this year. But at the same time, um, you know, the Falcons might be better this year. They got good weaponry. The Falcons got a strong offensive line. They can run the ball. Their defense is good against the run, but not against the pass. But at the same time, the game's in New England, and it could be weather dependent on, whether it's going to be cold or raining. I'm going to go with the Patriots to win this game here because I just think the Patriots, are just they're just a more complete team, and they pretty much have the better coaching staff. They're at home. And I think Drake May is a better quarterback than Penix because I don't think Penix is any good at all. Obviously, he's unproven. I wouldn't trust a young quarterback on the road. The defense, I just don't think the Falcons really have much of a pass rush to get after Drake May or disrupt Drake May, which I think that's probably going to allow the Patriots to at least like run the ball and possess the game and all that. So yeah, the Falcons do have a great secondary, but I feel like that Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry, and those guys, it's just going to be too much for the Falcons secondary to handle because I don't think the Falcons pass defense is that great because they're not good against the pass. So I think Drake May can pick them apart. So yeah, I like the Patriots to win that game at home. So basically right now the Patriots they're 7-2 right now, looking pretty good. So yeah, that's a good start here. Then week 10 against the Buccaneers. Obviously, I think they'll lose to the Buccaneers because I just really think that the Bucks, I just have a feeling that the Bucks are just a much more complete team and have the better quarterback, and they pretty much, they're at home and the coaches are pretty much even. And I just feel like the Bucks, they're just aggressive, especially on defense, because they're good against the run. They do blitz a lot. They do have a solid pass rush and a solid offensive line, which I think they'll find a way to at least like move the ball, like throw the ball, like run the ball, you know. But even though the Patriots do have a great secondary, I still think, that Baker Mayfield's gonna pick you apart and he's gonna he could dice you up, especially with the receivers they have with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Ibuka, and Kate Auden. Like, though, that's a lot to ask. So yeah. And I just feel like that that Todd Bowles defensive scheme is probably gonna be too much for the Patrons offense to at least like handle, because the Patrons, they can't really move the ball against good teams with good defenses. And the Bucks, they pretty much have a great pass defense as well too, because I feel like they can like find a way to at least cover Stephon Diggs. You can lock them down, make the Patrons throw the ball to other people. So I feel like Todd Bowles will put up a good game plan for the Patrons offense, where that can totally like lead to bad sacks, mistakes, and turnovers. So yeah, I think the Bucks, win this game at home. So yeah. Then when next game, week 11, uh, they play against the New York Jets Thursday night on a short week. Obviously, I think the Patrons will win this game, and the reason for that is the Patrons, they're just a much more physical team. They're at home and have the better quarterback, because I think Drake May is going to be better than Justin Fields, and they got a better coaching staff as well. I mean, the Jets, I feel like they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league because they got Justin Fields, who I'm not a huge fan of, and which he's not really good as a pure passer. The offensive line is a little suspect. It's young, but it's not great. The defense is good, but they're probably going to be worn out on how bad their offense is going to be. Especially, I just don't feel like the Jets are going to have the passing game to at least like get after that secondary of New England. Especially New England has good corners, like I said. Maybe they'll find a way to at least double team Garrett Wilson. Or you can just lock them down, double team them, make them the Jets throw the ball to people, force them to run the ball. Like the Patriots defense, they're good against the run, and they'll find a way to stop the Jets running game. And I feel like, the Patriots offensive weapons can like win their one-on-one matches against the Jets secondary. So yeah, and especially the Jets are going to be doing learning curves because they have a new head coach that's probably going to have to revamp this team. And Aaron Glenn is probably not a guy who I'm a huge fan of. So yeah. So I think the Patriots win this game at home. All right, next game, week 12 against Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals going to get the revenge, and win, after they lost to the Patriots on the opener last year, where, it was a defensive game where both offenses were a little sketchy and all that. But, the Bengals they're just a way much more complete team and have the better quarterback. They're at home in this game as well. And, despite the Patriots having a good defense, though, I feel like they could put up a fight. But despite them having a good defense, I think that the Bengals, with their weaponry, they can win their one-on-one matches against your secondary because they got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, uh, Yoshiva, and Mike Gesicki. Those guys are just going to be too much for your defense, and Burrow's probably going to be too much for your defense. But it doesn't really matter how good that the Patriots defense is going to be. I mean, Burrow's just going to pick you apart. He's he's just gonna like dice the Patriots secondary up. So yeah, so basically, I think the Bengals win this game, especially if Trey Henderson's not there. That could be a problem, but I feel like with Trey Henderson there, I feel like the Bengals can get a pass rush on Drake May, but the Bengals defense may not be as good as it be, but I feel like with the Patriots underwhelming receiving core, it's probably going to play into the Bengals' hand. So that's why I'm going to give the Bengals the win here at home. Then next game, Week 13 against the New York Giants on a Monday night in prime time. This is going to be an interesting game, but something's telling me take the Patriots though. But I don't know. I'll come back to that game. So basically, you get the bye week 14. So they're like 84-1 heading towards the bye week. So you got extra time to prepare and extra time to rest because then you got to play against the Buffalo Bills week 15. I think the Patrons are going to split the season series and beat the Bills because I think the Patrons, they played the Bills pretty well last year because I thought their defense gave them problems and all that. And, yeah, but I think they'll find a way to make life difficult on Josh Allen. They have a good secondary that can really man up against the Bills receiving core. And feel like their pass rush can like get after Allen and all that. And this is a Stephon Diggs revenge game, so he could go off in this game because the Bills can't cover Stephon Diggs. I mean, Diggs is probably gonna be going off for 100 plus yards. So yeah, or even more. So yeah, I think the Patriots can win that game because they have more to play for because they have a team because they're probably going to be a team that's probably going to make the playoffs this year, and I have them being a good team here. So a good team this year. So yeah, I think the Patriots will win. Week 16 against the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, this is going to be a fun game to watch, but I'm going with the Ravens here because I think the Ravens are just too physical for the Patriots. The Ravens, I just feel like they're just like the much more physical team. They have the better quarterback. They're at home. And I just feel like, Derrick Henry might be too, and Lamar will be too much for your defense. And I just really think that, you know, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, and Mark Andrews, those, and Isaiah Likely, like the weapons that the Ravens have on offense is just going to be a little bit too much for the Patriots defense to handle. And their defense might get thrown on, and they could get ran on in this game. And the Ravens, have a solid defense. They have a great secondary, that can really man up against Stephon Diggs. Like, they can just lock him down, make the Patriots throw the ball to other people. And their defensive line is solid. Maybe they'll make life difficult on Drake May. So, yeah. And I think the Ravens will win, but I think this will be a close game, though. Week 16 against the New York Jets. Obviously, I want to say the Jets are going to split with the Patriots, though, but I kind of remember last year Jets did beat the Patriots, though, with Aaron Rodgers, but you know what? I'm going to say the Patriots are going to beat the Jets again and sweep the season series. I just don't really think the Jets are a good team this year. They're not going to have much to play for because I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs this year, especially, the Patriots are looking to at least make a playoff push since for the first time since 2021. So yeah, I think the Patriots will win because they just are just a much more. They're just an overall better team. They own the Jets. They have the better coaching staff and better quarterback. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a much more physical team. So I think the Patriots win. And then finally, last game against the Miami Dolphins, I think they'll beat the Dolphins on the last game because the Patriots gonna want revenge after the Dolphins losing to the Patriots. After losing to the Dolphins in Miami, I feel like the Patriots are gonna want revenge because the Patriots, they're just much more physical. So yeah. And I just feel like the Patriots might have more to play for because they have a chance to make the playoffs while the Dolphins, they're going to be playing for maybe another year or two because I feel like the Dolphins, they're probably not going to make the playoffs this year. And, while the Patriots are looking to at least like clinch a playoff spot. And who knows, Tua could be hurt by then. Who knows? So, yeah, I feel like the Patriots are going to be the better team than the Dolphins. So, yeah, they're at home. So, yeah, that's pretty much why. So, basically, I have the Patriots at 11-5-1. So, basically, if I have them beating the Giants, they would be 12-5. But I know 12-5 seems about high. But if they lose to the Giants, that will put them at 11-6. But you know what? I'm gonna give them a loss against the Giants. For some reason, I don't know why. I mean, I thought the Patriots are probably gonna lose this game by a ridiculous catcher by a field goal because we know the Giants. Last time when these two teams played, the Giants did win that game, but that they won by a field goal or something because it was a low scoring game where both offenses couldn't get something going. But I think it's probably going to be a defensive game because I feel like the Giants, their pass rush is solid because they have a really solid offensive line. I mean, they have a solid pass rush that with Abdul Carr, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Golston. I mean, that Giants pass rush is a problem, and that can really make life difficult on Drake May. They did improve their secondary a little bit to at least like play some man coverage against the Patriots' weaponry. But yeah, the Giants have so much weapons on offense, but I just don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Is it going to be Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart? Who knows? But I still think the Giants will win. But I think the Patriots are just a better team from a talent standpoint and have a better coaching staff. But I just have a feeling the Giants are just going to win and pull off an upset just because, the Giants, find a game where they're not supposed to win, but they win anyway. So, yeah, I like the Giants here to win that game. So, ultimately, I got the Patriots as sitting at a total record of 11-6. So, 11-6 is good, which I think that's good enough for the Patriots to make the playoffs. I think the Patriots are going to be a sneaky good team this year. I feel like Drake May is going to take a leap in year two. And I really like the improvements they made at wide receiver and the improvements on the defense and the offensive line. I feel like their coaching will be much better this year. Mike Vrabel. I mean, if you look at the Patriots' schedule, it's pretty much, insane. Like, it could be easier because, they play, they play the Dolphins twice. They play the Bills twice. They play the Steelers. They play a first place schedule. Well, they gotta play the Bucks. They gotta play the Bengals. They gotta play the Ravens. Like, this schedule right here could be much easier than last year because last year they have a tough schedule, but I feel like this year they have an easier schedule. So yeah. So yeah, I think the Patriots are probably gonna be better this year, but I won't expect them to do any better than 12-5 or anything like that. Like, I could see them dropping a game, something like that. Like, I can see them lose it. I can see them lose to the Bills and get swept by the Bills. I could really see them lose one game to the Jets. I could see them like losing to Atlanta or maybe Pittsburgh. And some teams I can also see them beating is the Giants. So yeah, so 11-6 should be good enough for the Patriots to make the playoffs. So yeah, so if you disagree with me, just let me know in the comment section below what you guys think and how you feel about the Patriots. Well, as I want to know, thank you, past fans, for watching. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to put a thumbs up to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more options and all that. So, yeah. This is Emmanuel Jones, big fan. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Peace.